Welcome to another exciting episode of Hey CS. I'm your host, Tyrone Tan. Today, we have the pleasure of hosting Rachel Provan, a seasoned expert in customer success and a dynamic leader in the field. Join us as Rachel shares her wealth of knowledge on building strong customer relationships, driving engagement, and fostering a culture of success within teams. Whether you're looking to enhance your customer success strategies or gain insights from her impressive career journey, this episode is packed with valuable takeaways. Tune in and get inspired by Rachel's stories and practical advice to help elevate your customer success game. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, so we talked about your podcast, and could you dive into one of the topics that really poked its head out? And it's odd. You said that onboarding is like a big opportunity to actually lose customers, and there's some churn there. Can you open that up and unpack that for me?
Absolutely. It's one of those things that tends to be well known among people who've been in customer success a long time. So it always surprises me when people are like, what, really? But we often say, you don't have a churn problem, you have an onboarding problem. Because onboarding really is such a make or break time. It's the time between when they've been sold the dream and actually having to put in the work to get there. It's not going to be a magic button. Even though we logically know there's no such thing, a part of us is a little disappointed that, oh, it's not just going to immediately work and get the results we wanted. We have to put in some work too. So that's why time to first value is really important. And also just reminding the customer of why they bought the product. You can't just tell them, like, okay, so I'm going to need you to upload this list of users, and then I'm going to need you to check this on Facebook and make sure you've added us here and do this and that. None of that sounds very pressing or very interesting. I probably have things that are going to affect me in my job more than the tasks you are giving me in onboarding. Learning new things is frustrating, it's hard. Whereas if you give me an incentive, tell me the why. So first I'm going to need you to upload that list of people so that we'll be able to get your contacts synced immediately. You won't have to search around for them anymore. And that's how that's going to benefit you. When you link up this Facebook pixel, they're going to automatically bring anyone who hits your website, you're going to automatically have their contact. They're going to show you their ads going forward. Just whatever you're doing, show the benefit. And that will remind the person, like, here's why I should bother. Everything that the main one of the main things I teach in the Customer Success Leadership Academy is, no matter who you are talking to, imagine they're asking you, why should I care? Nothing personal, but why should I care? Always be answering that question with everything you say, and you're much more likely to retain your customers. But you've got to make sure they get some kind of quick win.
So you mentioned the word outcomes. Can
Mm-hmm.
you describe what that word means? Because it's a general word. And if
Yes.
I don't really tie that into onboarding, why is that important?
On Outcomes is basically what customer success is all about. In my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, it's literally the definition of customer success. It's getting the customer what they came for. Why did they buy the product? They wanted to get a certain business outcome, right? They wanted to either save time, save money, maybe increase security. But those are the big three: save time, which is really saving money; make money, yeah, save money, make money, increase efficiency, which is again saving money. You're not going to achieve their ultimate goal. Like, how much money do you want to save? How much time do you want to save? What would make it significant enough for you to say, yes, this is what I came for? So the way I like to look at it is, in a kickoff call, you ask them, what are you trying to achieve with our product? How will you know when you got there? What are you measuring? Where are you now? And here's the important one for onboarding: how would you know when things are moving in the right direction? Because that is going to be their indication that, okay, I see that this works, right? I'm now on board, as opposed to, like, all right, we trained you, good luck. Just because you've checked all the boxes on your side does not make them on board. They are on board when they see some sort of result that indicates they're going to get what they want out of it. Then they'll put in the extra effort to adopt.
So interesting. A lot of times, from what I understand, is that sales helped get this deal. So
Mhm.
the customer on the other side has a certain expectation. Is it, how would you reset the whole platform to understand exactly where the customer is coming from, because technically sales sold them. So the assumption would be, don't all customers want the same thing when they purchase the software?
Wouldn't that be nice? No. Customers do not want your software. They want an outcome. They want a specific outcome that your product can provide them. Your product can probably do different things for different groups of people. So I always like to use Calendly as an amazing example of this. If you look at their website, you would think everyone is looking to get a page where people can book a meeting. And yes, they are, but that wouldn't be as big a deal as it is to get a specific result that's relevant to you. If you go to their main web page where you can sign up, it it asks you what your role is. If it's customer success, they'll say increase NRR by this percent, like this customer did, by doing X, Y, and Z. Here's how our product helps you achieve that result. If you're in hiring, if you're in HR, increase time to hire by 12% and save this amount of money, or increase your pipeline by this. They're speaking to what you want to achieve. I don't care if people book meetings with me. I don't want to be in a meeting. I do want to increase my NR. I do want to increase my wallet share. So, speaking specifically to what I'm trying to achieve, because the way I use the product, I might have to use it differently than someone in HR. I want to know how I need to use the product to get the results I want. Otherwise, I'm just going to get the generic result, which is nowhere near as impactful as the result that helps me do my job better.
You also mentioned that the problem is people. What does that
Always.
mean? What exactly does that mean?
And I love people, and this is why I do what I do. But I think most people who build software, like a lot of founders, basically, which ends up being a lot of the C suite, a lot of founders, they think like computers. They're used to, I'm going to tell it to do A, B, and C. Here are the logical steps. I'll program this. They'll do that on their side. I'll tell it to do this. And one, two, three, this makes sense. It'll do it and it will run the command and it will execute. Humans don't do that, if you haven't noticed. Just because it's very easy to think they wanted the product, they bought the product, we showed them how to use the product, done, right? That should get it done. But that is in no way how humans work. We have to be motivated by the what's in it for me, the WIFM that people talk about. I use the analogy of the gym all the time because I have bought numerous gym memberships. I know what's needed on my part. I don't think just owning the gym membership is going to give me a six pack or going to give me more energy to play with my kids, right? Maybe that first week I go and I'm like really excited. I'm pumped. I'm like, look at me. It's the new me. And I'm doing it. I'm healthy, Rachel. And then maybe the second week I go like once or twice. And the third week it's sleeting. And I worked really hard yesterday. It's going to be a long day. I'm going to skip it. Other things are more important to me today. And the next day my kid is sick. So now I can't go because life gets in the way. And now I went a bunch of times. It hurts. I don't see any difference. This kind of sucks. And I just use it to break myself for not going. And we can see this is not something I'm going to renew. Whereas if I have, excuse me, if I have a personal trainer, right, I'm accountable to someone. And not only am I accountable to someone, they're going to show me what to do there so that I get the results that I want as quickly as possible, right? If I have a good one. And that result is not going to be the same for every person. Like I have a friend who didn't want to pay for a personal trainer, and there are always personal trainers in the park near me with like rich people who pay them. And she figured she'd be stealthy and go behind a tree and follow the workout. And then she's, my pants aren't fitting. What the hell is happening? And she chatted the woman up later. She's, hey, how do you like your personal trainer? And the woman was like, oh my God, he's amazing. I have grown my ass by 2 inches. And so that was her goal. That's why she was personal training. My friend, that was not her goal. She wanted to tighten up overall. So it's, you have to use the product the way it's going to get you the result you want. And you can't assume that's the same for everyone. So having someone to be accountable to and show you how to use it in the way that will help you, not hurt you or give you a result you don't want.
Wow, that's pretty
That's a
amazing.
lot, I know.
The Yeah, the question I ask a lot of guests are, how do you know, like, they're hiring managers out there, the CS hiring managers, the
Mhm.
leaders, they're interviewing and they see candidates, and they're good candidates out there, but then there are great candidates.
Mm.
For the CS hiring managers out there, how they're looking at a lot of resumes. How would someone as a CS hiring manager know when someone is great versus good?
On a resume, it's harder to tell, honestly. A lot of resumes right now really should be focusing on metrics, like here's how I help make the company money. Because again, psychology, this is what people are looking for right now. It's the only thing on their mind. As opposed to if we were really looking for a good CS person, there may be more about how they drove outcomes, how they drove adoption, cross functional skills, cross functional partnership. But again, a resume is a tool. I don't think it's a terribly effective one. It shows, okay, this person has experience with working cross functionally, partnering with high level executives at bigger companies. They've driven this results in GRR and NRR. They've done retention and upsells. So they've done like the basics of the job. It's not till you get to the interview that you can really tell this person's got it. They What's funny is I tend to find people who've been in the service industry tend to be really good CSMs because you need to be able to deal with people's BS and get them what they want anyway. And again, it's not about making the customer quote unquote happy, but understanding what needs to get done to get them their result. So I had a, a candidate. I always like to have a mix of people with various experience. I need at least one really experienced person on the team, but I also want to bring in people who maybe would not have had the opportunity. So I was interviewing people. I was like, I've got room for someone who like we can pay a little less, we can train them up, but there's a certain kind of like curiosity, outcome driven focus. So I talked to her and she had mainly worked at an online furniture company. But she talked to me about how when customers called and they were like, I want or order, and we're chatting and we're like, I want a couch. I want it to be this big, blah, blah, blah. And most people would be like, great, this one, and put the order in. She would ask them questions like, okay, but this is a pretty big purchase. So what role is it going to play in your life? Is this a couch that like kids are going to be jumping on? Is it going to be in your office? Is it just for decoration? Like what role is this playing? And I was like, that is a CSM right there because they're thinking long term, like what is going to make this successful for the person? Like what's going to make them get the result they want? And that person, whoever bought that, I don't care that this isn't SaaS, they're coming back here when they need furniture because they're going to get what they want.
Man, that's I see what you mean about outcomes. That
Yeah.
definitely brings that out. Now, on your website, provansuccess.com,
Mm-hmm.
you have some programs that can actually help customer success professionals. Can you describe one of the programs? I think it's called Customer Success Leadership Academy. What's that one all about?
That's my baby. It's my flagship course. I created it because there was nothing out there that I could see that taught you how to be a CS leader. Like, what are all the strategies you need to know? How do you lead a team? How do you work cross functionally with these other teams? How do you sell the value of CS to the C suite? How do you manage your time so that you don't just become the miscellaneous department for everybody else? How do you set those kind boundaries? Because we do tend to be helper types who just want to be nice and say yes to everything. So I created what I would have liked at the time, all those hard won lessons that I had to bump my head on. I said, here's where I'm going to give people the shortcut. Just the instructions, like step by step Lego instruction. Here's how you build and scale a CS department to a revenue generating engine from scratch. And no, that is not going to happen in 3 months. Wish it would, not possible. But here's every step, every strategic initiative. Here are the phases you're going to go through. And here's how to pave that to show the vision. So it's not, it's been 6 months. Why don't we have 115% NRR? Which I hear a lot. It's because that's like me wanting an apartment on Park Avenue for $2,000 a month. That's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. You haven't done what's necessary. You haven't earned the money necessary. You haven't built the program necessary. So it helps set expectations and it helps you literally, this is what I need to do every day. This is how I lead my team to build top performing teams, have executive presence, which most people are never taught. I also teach how you can do that in an authentic way because executive presence is going to look different for me than it is like a 45-year-old white guy, which is what most executive presence is modeled around. When I try and look and act like that way, I seem like a weirdo, as I should, because that's not me. So, really, how to do that authentically, being very practical. So, with that, we have modules that you get to keep forever, 5 modules, all those things in the teaching, all in the modules, all kept forever. I have all the templates you could ever need and processes. And then we have weekly coaching because just reading something does not mean you know how to do it. There are going to be things, humans, that get in your way. So you can come here, you can be coached once a week by me and other CS leaders and say, oh, yeah, here's how you handle that problem. Or you can hear from your peers, yeah, here's how I got past that same issue. We also have a community where we do that 24/7 and an alumni program so people can continue that as long as they need it or whenever they need it. So it really is a community, it's coaching, it's lessons. I'm so proud of it.
That's amazing. Tell me about this other program that you have. It's called Career Accelerator Program. What's that all about?
Yep, I it used to be called Dream Jobs program, but it's so cheesy. But basically, that is a program to help CS leaders, like existing CS leaders, get a new job. So whether they're in a role and they're looking for something else or they have found themselves on the job market like many people, this is how to land a great job fast. So I go over things like we redo your resume. I don't care if you've already had your resume redone by a quote unquote resume writer, unless they know CS, it's probably not going to get you any further, unfortunately. I hate doing resume rewrites. I wish those worked and we could just jump into the next, but reality intrudes. So we do that. We optimize your resume. I mean, we optimize your LinkedIn profile to be found by recruiters and hiring managers because 85% of jobs are not posted on LinkedIn, especially leadership jobs. We do interview prep. So I'm going to be able to tell you the things, me and my coaches are going to be able to tell you the things, the feedback you're not getting from those hiring managers. And you're like, oh, any reason why? And they're like, oh, it's just someone else had more experience. That's the it's not you, it's me. There's no reason for them to tell you. I'm going to tell you you're being weird on camera. And here's what to do about it. And then finally, we help with your final presentation and salary negotiation scripts and templates that have increased the offer $10,000 to $15,000 almost every time. So that's, oh, and there's a 3-pronged networking approach in addition to this. It's jam packed. I just keep throwing things in there.
That's fantastic. Now, you also have another program coming out,
I do.
CSM to CS Leader. What's that going to be
Yeah.
about?
That is going to be the bridge to help those who are CSMs, have been CSMs for a little while, for a few years, and they're ready. They know they're ready. They're ready for that leadership role. They want to manage others. They want to work on strategy. I'm going to show them how to get promoted within their current organization, even if there is no role available, exactly what to do to learn what they have to learn, the conversations they need to have, the presentation they need to make, and how to get a raise as well, how to execute that. I have run it with private clients for a long time, and now I'm bringing it to the public, hopefully early
That's
next year.
that's fantastic. Thank you, Rachel, for being on our podcast. I really appreciate your time. And if anyone is out there who wants more information, where would they learn more about your programs?
Absolutely. Go to provansuccess.com, sign up for the newsletter, and you will get notified about everything as well as given a lot of tips, tricks, free templates, things like that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for being on our show.
Thank you so much for having me.